Big Brain Time debate podcast. And I want to know, have we ever disagreed on anything?
I mean, I thought that was the point of this.
I mean, we disagree on a lot of things, so.
You know how we can resolve that? Duels.
Ah.
Should we bring back the duel? That is today's debate podcast. Debate. That is today's debate topic. Kyle
Interesting.
Kramer, you're the U.S. history major here.
Well, dueling isn't just American history. Dueling is like all history, really. Like, if you think about it, like armies used to settle entire wars by just having two people go out and fight each other to the death, and whoever won, that entire nation won the battle.
David and Goliath.
David and Goliath, yeah. It's odd. It just kind of happens, and it usually just happens because two people have disagreements. Like a lot of the personal duels are mostly just honor things, that somebody dishonored somebody else, maybe by calling their wife a really mean name, and it's just like, oh, now you're getting shot.
Pretty much just covered the history of, well, a decent amount of the history of dueling.
A decent
but, I mean,
amount.
obviously it's not always been with guns. Like, we've got swords people, duel with swords.
Rocks.
You know, you could say a fist fight sometimes, maybe like, just dueling with blunt weapons.
Mm-hmm. Clubs.
Are we all in agreement that modern disagreements should be resolved by duel? Because if so, we can pivot to asking whether it should be a sword duel, a gun duel, or a rock duel.
I would really like to say yes. There is a caveat to my yes, but I would like to say yes. The caveat is the person that you disagree with dies a horrible death, but then the situation is resolved, but you don't get to ever make up with that person if they were your friend.
I will go yes as well, but I will definitely argue in favor of like something like sword dueling as opposed to pistol dueling.
Pistol dueling? Okay, I'll go for pistol dueling. Pistol dueling's fun, in my opinion.
That leaves me with rock dueling.
So now we've positioned like, okay, duels need to happen, but with what?
But how? Yes, exactly.
But how?
My argument for rocks is that it really speaks to our past, the good old caveman past.
Oh, I thought you were talking about like a rock concert duel or something like a battle of the bands type of rock duel.
Oh, that'd be great. But no, I'm talking about grabbing two rocks and pummeling each other.
That one works as well. Yeah, I suppose.
Yeah.
Duel of the Bards.
I think the screen's doing something kind of weird. I'm going to switch us back to gallery view.
Just have a classic rap battle, actually.
There you go.
All political debates are settled with rap battles.
Oh,
I don't know, man. I mean, it didn't work out so well in Hamilton because he got shot. I think we should go with pistol duels instead. That might be safer.
Hey, it's quick, it's short, it's brutal. It's like life.
Nasty, short, and brutish, baby. I don't know, man. I think if the idea is to settle our honor, why should we be using such contraptions? It's unsportsmanlike, truly.
Well, I guess you could say ask Alexander Hamilton, but you can't because he died in the duel, but...
Exactly. Now, you could ask George Washington, but not Alexander Hamilton.
How could you ask George Washington?
Oh, shoot, is he dead?
Yes.
I think he might be, just a little bit.
Did he get shot in a duel? You see, this is why we should go with rocks.
What was his name? Andrew Jackson did. Andrew Jackson was like in an unknown number of duels, and he survived each one, whether he was shot or not.
Yeah, did he die naturally though, or
he died naturally? He died naturally. Like he had a bullet that was like near his heart. They could never get it out, but it never killed him.
So I have to ask.
Considering the kind of man he was, I'm not surprised.
Why swords?
Yeah, why swords, Ira?
Because swords take skill. All right, like anybody can wield just two ordinary pistols, and call it a day with that. But with swords, it's a real test of someone's strength, endurance, and honor based off the fact that they can hold their own in a battle with swords instead of just pacing twice and then hoping that they're fast and can aim better than the other person.
I didn't say I was pacing. I didn't say anything about that. It's just how fast are you to the draw?
Oh, you're talking about just a typical draw then.
I'm just talking about drawing.
Like nothing official. Like just draw it out and go then.
Just go.
Yeah.
Stand out in the middle of the street and just go it. May the best man win. But
Parent-teacher conferences would be so interesting this way.
my son is doing fine. You know nothing. Draws the pistol.
I like the way that rocks, when you hit something with them, sometimes they split. And that's my argument for rocks, They can split and you can see all the little gems in them. Sometimes you could be like, this is my dueling rock. And then you just pull out some granite. Or if you want to get fancy, you could even carry around crystals. Picture a whole society of people ready to pummel each other with crystals at any time.
I mean, that's a better use of like those meditation crystals that people always use. So, I mean, like, there's already a market. Just got to sell it for a different purpose. That's all.
Peace was never an answer.
Peace was never an option in the first place, Seth. What are you talking about?
Should throw up that picture of a duck carrying
It's a goose. It's a goose. It's a goose.
Goose. Thank you. Did you know goose have teeth on their tongues?
Yeah, it's terrifying.
Yeah.
It's absolutely terrifying.
And if they got on your bad side, you could always hit them with a rock. What are you going to do? Shoot a duck?
I mean, I could just pull out my gun and shoot the goose, but hey, I mean, it's like not like anybody's been doing that for a number of years.
People shoot geese?
Yeah, it's hunting.
How could they?
Well, number one, apparently they taste very good. And
yeah, I've had goose before. It's actually pretty good. At a restaurant, I've never actually
right, yeah. And number two, their population is kind of like really expanded and almost out of control, so it's almost like stop them before they uprise.
Predators, so I mean,
right.
If our standard for whether or not we should shoot something is that it tastes good and there's too many of them, you can make the argument humans should be next.
I mean, honestly, I can't argue with that, but...
What aren't you telling us, Seth?
I like rock duels, and I am sticking with that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I liked Ira's sword argument because I think swords are... It's classy. It's definitely classy to duel with swords.
Yeah, and like I said, it takes skill. You gotta be fit. You gotta be ready. You gotta practice all the time. People... if you have to worry about, getting into a duel with a sword all the time, that means you're going to be practicing all the time, which builds like your own self-discipline. It's a good way to keep exercised. Like, it's not easy to, especially if you're not fighting with, light rapiers or anything. Like if you're pulling out like proper, like long swords or anything like that, then those things are heavy. Like,
yes,
like it does not, like a wimp cannot just wave around a sword easily.
Shouldn't a wimp be able to defend their honor?
Well, then they should have practiced more with a sword.
We can't all spend our lives sword training all day. Some of us have jobs. Some of us have rocks to carry.
Some of us are too busy trying to set their aim with a pistol.
Ooh.
That's the coward's way out.
The coward.
Just use a gun. Just use a gun.
It's like that scene from
Come
Indiana
up close
Jones.
And fight me like a man. Don't be shooting bullets or throwing rocks at me.
You just see it. Here's Ira swinging his sword. Seth is chucking rocks. I'm just trying to shoot bullets.
I think Kyle would win.
Well, unless Ira was like some kind of Jedi and was able to deflect the shot.
Yeah, I mean, you probably actually just break the sword if I tried to block it, but...
I'd probably break the sword. I mean, the Mythbusters did test that, hey, you can cut a bullet in half with the sword if you get the right end of it, so...
Yeah, but, I mean, trying to do that, you know...
Yeah.
Not even Deadpool caught every bullet, so...
Right, exactly.
So I think Kyle has I don't know if you were intending to, but it seems that you have made a very strong argument for guns in the realm of dueling.
Hey, the quick and the dead.
So that's this week's podcast. Join us next time, where we'll discuss whether or not "Take Me Home, Country Road" should be the new national anthem.
Fascinating question. Bye.
So long.